Samoa Joe is widely regarded as one of the most respected and feared professional wrestlers of the modern era. Known for his intensity, hard-hitting style, and unmatched presence inside the squared circle, Joe has competed across some of the most prestigious promotions in the world, including Ring of Honor, ROH, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, TNA, Impact Wrestling, WWE, and All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Over the span of more than 2 decades, he has captured multiple world championships, television titles, and tag team belts. Recently, Samoa Joe reflected on his illustrious career and revealed which of his championship reigns meant the most to him. Ranking his favorite title runs is not an easy task for a man who has accomplished so much, but Joe's perspective offers fans a unique glimpse into the mindset of a champion who has stood the test of time. This article explores the highlights of Joe's career, a breakdown of his favorite title reigns, and why those moments continue to define his legacy. Samoa Joe's legacy as a champion. To understand why certain title reigns stand out to Samoa Joe, one must first appreciate the foundation of his career. Joe began making waves in the early 2000s in Ring of Honor, where his incredible in-ring psychology and devastating offense quickly set him apart. His matches against CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and others became instant classics. Moving on to TNA, Joe evolved into one of the company's most important stars. He carried the brand through some of its most successful years, feuding with names like AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, and Sting. Later, his WWE run brought him mainstream exposure, though his time there was filled with both highlights and frustrations. Now in AEW, Joe continues to prove why he is one of the most reliable performers in wrestling, with fans respecting not just his history but also his ability to stay relevant in a constantly evolving industry. Ranking his favorite title reigns. 1. ROH World Championship, 2003-2004. When Samoa Joe defeated Xavier in March 2003 to win the ROH World Championship, few could have predicted just how significant his reign would become. Holding the belt for an astounding 645 days, Joe's run remains one of the longest and most celebrated in independent wrestling history. Joe elevated ROH's reputation globally. His rivalries with CM Punk, particularly their legendary trilogy of matches, helped solidify both men as future icons. According to Joe, this reign is among his favorites because it represented his breakthrough moment. It was proof that he could not only be a main event player but also carry an entire promotion on his shoulders. In Joe's own words, it wasn't just about having the belt, but about building ROH's credibility and proving that independent wrestling could rival mainstream promotions in terms of quality and passion. 2. TNA X Division Championship, 2005. Although Samoa Joe would go on to win the TNA World Heavyweight title, he has often spoken highly of his time in the X Division. When he entered TNA, the division was known for fast-paced, high-flying matches. Joe, however, brought something new: power, intensity, and submission-based dominance. His reign as X Division champion was groundbreaking. Joe didn't just fit into the division, he redefined it. His matches with AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, particularly their three-way at Unbreakable 2005, are still regarded as some of the best in TNA history. For Joe, this reign represents a period of innovation. He proved that heavyweight-style wrestlers could thrive in the X Division, and in doing so, he helped elevate the entire concept of what the division could be. 3. TNA World Heavyweight Championship, 2008. By the time Samoa Joe finally captured the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in 2008, he had already been one of the company's cornerstones for years. His victory over Kurt Angle at Lockdown 2008 was a historic moment, not just for Joe personally but also for the promotion. Joe carried the title with pride, delivering hard-hitting matches that showcased the best of his abilities. His feud with Angle during this period was especially significant, cementing both men as the faces of TNA. According to Joe, this reign was memorable because it validated his journey. He had been loyal to TNA from the beginning, and finally being recognized as the top star was both a personal and professional achievement. 4. WWE NXT Championship Runs, 2016-2017. When Samoa Joe signed with WWE, fans wondered whether the company would truly embrace his persona. To their surprise, Joe flourished in NXT. Becoming the first-ever two-time NXT champion, Joe's reigns included classic matches against Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and others. Joe has stated that these reigns were important to him because they gave him the chance to prove himself to an entirely new audience. Despite years of dominance in TNA and ROH, many WWE fans were unfamiliar with his history. His NXT runs introduced him to a global mainstream audience and proved he could thrive in WWE's environment. 5. AEW TNT Championship, 2022-2023. In AEW, Samoa Joe captured the TNT Championship, adding another accolade to his storied career. While the reign itself may not be as historically significant as his earlier ones, Joe has said that it carries personal meaning. At this stage of his career, Joe takes pride in mentoring younger talent while still showing he can compete at the highest level. His reigns in AEW represent longevity, resilience, and adaptability. For Joe, being able to remain relevant after decades in the business is a victory in itself. The mindset of a champion. What makes Samoa Joe stand out is not just his list of titles but also his philosophy about being a champion. For him, holding a belt is not about personal glory, it's about responsibility. He has often said that a champion sets the tone for the entire company, raising the standard for everyone else on the roster. Joe's favorite reigns are not necessarily the longest or the most decorated, but the ones where he felt he made the biggest impact. Whether elevating ROH to international recognition, redefining TNA's X division, or carrying AEW's TNT Championship with honor, Joe's reigns reflect his commitment to the craft. Legacy beyond championships. Although Samoa Joe has multiple title reigns to his name, his legacy is not defined solely by the gold around his waist. His influence is evident in the wrestlers he has inspired, the fans who continue to admire him, and the promotions he helped build. Joe's career demonstrates that being a champion is about more than wins and losses, it's about leaving the business better than you found it. For Joe, every reign was a chance to elevate not just himself but the entire company he represented.